What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day so far. As you can clearly see, I'm not at my home PC right now. I'm on my laptop. I'm on a little bit of a vacation right now. Yeah, I do apologize for a little bit of the production quality. We do have a little bit of Plarium news here today I want to share with you guys. This is in regards to the upcoming Summoning Rush event that we have happening in 18 hours. All right, so let's jump into it. On screen right now. It's going to be a progressive event. So this Friday, starting July 31st, they're planning to launch a progressive event for the following champions. Arya, the Golden Hope. She's one of the newer champions in the game. She's actually really, really solid. From the Argonite faction, she is Spirit Affinity, defense-based champion. I do have a showcase on this champion, so if you're lucky enough to pull her, you guys can check that out. But her overall gameplay, I think, is very, very nice. She has a very nice kit. 16 and 19 base defense, big defense on her. 110 base speed is really, really nice. Her A1 places 100% heal reduction. This is going to be really good at just shutting down enemies that are trying to recover, good against bosses. Her passive ability on this is actually pretty cool. So whenever an enemy has their HP drop below 50%, she goes in with this A1, and this heal reduction is irresistible, unblockable, unremovable. So it's a pretty cool kind of ability. I found, at least in practice, get quite a bit of value from it. Her A2, absolutely insane. On a 3-turn cooldown, she has an AoE attack before attacking. She transfers all the debuffs from your allies to your enemies. So it's a full team cleanse, and then it's a full whatever the debuff attack is. And it also gives you Fortify and Strengthen, two good buffs, and then a full team cleanse with a offensive ability with the debuff transfer. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. Also, there's some situations where you get lots of debuffs, but usually you shouldn't get debuffed too often in normal situations. But there's definitely some cool ways to use this ability. Her A3 on a 4-turn cooldown is an AoE attack. It's 100% chance to steal all buffs. It is a on-hit effect, so there is hit considerations. It also places True Fear and block passive skills for 2 turns. This is a pretty crippling ability. Obviously, block passive skills. There's a lot of good passives in the game, and if you block them, the champion that you block loses a lot of value. True Fear gives you the crowd control, obviously, and then stealing buffs, very, very nice. 4-turn cooldown, it's a little bit long, but this is a pretty strong ability. Lastly, her passive here, before the start of each enemy's turn, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 5%. Have to be careful about this because Marius, obviously, his passive will go off with this. Enemy ignore defense effects against this champion are decreased by 50%. So similar to how Harima decreases all enemies, this is only for herself. So not as good as Harima, but still a very, very solid passive. And then speed for spirit allies by 25%. Now I think she's a cool champ, and she's definitely worth having and using. She's going to be up for the progressive event on this weekend. So not a bad champion there. We also have Hilby, the Rhyme High from the Dwarf faction. Hilby was the Deck of Fate champion for Christmas time. Very, very strong champion. 110 base speed. We got speed in all battles. Aura 19%. It's got an A1 decreased defense. Got an A2 strip and freeze. A little bit of a negative here. This skill cannot be decreased or reset. And then her revive is really, really good on a 4-turn cooldown. Revives all dead allies, places block damage, and increase speed on them. If nobody is dead, she still uses this ability, but you get turn meter boost as well as block damage and increased speed on a 4-turn cooldown. Really, really strong revive with a conditional ability that's really good. And then her passive here, whenever an enemy receives a freeze, this champion steals 1 random buff, places HP burn, and decreases their turn meter by 10%. She also has a pretty nice synergy here with Torment. With Torment, she's pretty deadly, but I would say she is very good by herself. Very strong carry. I know she changed a lot of people's accounts when people got her. Personally speaking, I got her from the Deck of Fate, and I fully invested in her for a 6-star. I did use her quite a bit in Arena, but nowadays I kind of pivot away from using her too often, but I still see her quite a bit in Arena. mainly because her A2 doesn't get as much value as you think because it's a non-hit, so it doesn't remove material stacks. Removing buffs from enemies is generally not 100% because of the lightning cage and stone skin and stuff like that. So you don't get a lot of value from this A2 that often. But of course, sometimes it could be pretty clutch. But her revive is still very good. Um, yeah, moving on. Next champion on the list, we have Priva, the Slitherer from the Demon Spawn faction. There she is. Priva, 110 base speed, also with a 20% speed in all battles. She got an A1, transfer all debuff from this champion to the target. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion's under three or more debuffs. Pretty okay. Her A2, very nice here on a 3-turn cooldown, heals all allies by 25%, then places increased defense and increased speed. For 3-turn cooldown, this is very nice ability. And she also has a single target revive with a full reset on a 4-turn cooldown. This ability is fine. It's not as good as like Raglan's single target revive, but this is a really strong ability. Her passive here is actually kind of interesting. It's similar to Ancora in a way. At the start of this champion's turn, transfer one debuff from each ally to this champion. Will not transfer any of the hard CCs. This effect cannot be resisted or blocked. Um, at the end of this champion's turn, fill the turn meter of all allies by 10% and an additional 2% for each debuff on this champion. So if you have basically Priva, she's sponging up all your debuffs from your team. You're going to get a bunch of turn meter from her. She also has the A1, which can transfer the debuffs, so that kind of synergizes a little bit. It's an interesting ability. There's probably some ways to use it in a cool way, but otherwise, as a general support champion, she's not too bad. Wouldn't say she's insane or anything, but she's not a bad champion at all. Up next, we have Lord Entertainer Fabian from the Undeads. Yep, there he is. Big meta champion right now in the arena. 6th anniversary fusion champion, absolute insane champion. 109 base speed, got speed in all battles. Big ability here with the A3. He's a fusion, so you guys can pick him up from the fusion token system. And he's definitely one of the best fusions of all time. He's got a lockout ability, buff strip ability, petrify ability, and then this passive ability that really just locks down the enemy really bad. His passive here also locks enemies down pretty badly, and then he is not immune, but he removes any of the hard CC stuff at the start of his turn. So crazy control champion and not easy to control himself. He's going to be up for grabs. So I'm sure everybody that has a Fabian is probably using him unless you have like Quixia or something. And then lastly, for the non-void champions, we have Grand Oak Podrick. I think Grand Oak is a free champion for new players nowadays, but he's insanely good for a new player because his entire build doesn't require accuracy. You just build them just like speed and HP. It's an A1, very strong ability actually, for 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally skill by 2 turns. So if you have a team with lots of very powerful skills that are on cooldown, this A1 gets a lot of value. His A2 here has a full team ally attack, which with a continuous heal, you get no crit damage buff or anything like that, so it's a bit of a negative. But you get a little bit of survivability with the continuous heal. And then you have a turn meter boost here with a full team cleanse and an increased speed. Very solid on a 3-turn cooldown. And his passive, very strong. He places the correct debuffs depending on the type of champion that you have so that you always get the right buffs to start off your turn. Very good for like damage dealers and stuff like that. All right, let's talk about the Void champions here. So first up, we have Storm Herald Hecatan from the brand new Argonite faction. I would say he is part of the group of champions that was released this year for the Void champions that are just like, godly tier. So we have Hecatan, Tection, and Solinar. Those are probably the 3 really crazy champions in this game. And they're Void champions, and they're all released this year. So defense based. He can hit, but he's much better as a control champion because his A1 is so absurd. His A1 is 100% provoke and an enfeeble. And then there's 25% chance that these debuffs cannot be resisted. If the enemy has a number of buffs equal to or less than this champion, it becomes an AoE. So Storm Herald Hecatan has ways to give himself buffs, which means this is an A1 AoE provoke enfeeble 100% very often. It's a crazy ability, crazy A1. And fuel is just, it's going to really hurt you if you get that on you. Obviously, you need block debuffs to stop this. It doesn't say unblockable or anything, but it does say irresistible. His A2 here, big single target smack. He self buffs himself with the increased defense. Storm Call, also is very, very good. Basically, after 5 crits, you're going to land an irresistible stun. And then he places the increased defense and Storm Call on everybody. Will ignore Stone Skin and 50% of the target's defense if the number of buffs on the target is equal to or less than this champion. So it's a pretty big single target smack. And if you kill somebody, decrease the turn meter of all enemies by an amount equal to the turn meter that the target had had. It's also on the 3-turn ability. So it's very, very powerful to get back. And then lastly, his A3 here on a 3-turn cooldown, he places increased crit rate, block damage, and counterattack on a target ally. So he can place it on himself. It also fills the turn meter of all allies by 25%. Again, very crazy. If he puts it on himself, that means he's going to be spamming his A1s nonstop. And he also places 5 buffs. Yeah, just crazy. And his passive here, just pumping out crazy amounts of damage. Basically, whenever an ally is under Storm Call, placed by this champion and he lands crit, they're going to do some extra damage based on max HP. So he's giving your whole team the ability to do max HP damage. It's crazy, especially against PvE like Hydras and stuff, just crazy amounts of damage. And then lastly, to cap off his crazy kit, he has a 24% speed in all battles. Very insane champion. Can be useful like all areas of the game. Just crazy champion. Next up for the Void champions, we have from the Dwarves, we have Senna Amberheart. Very good champion. I mean, you're going to be using her in all kind of all content, right? Speed in all battles aura, got team revive here on a 4-turn cooldown. And then he's got the increased speed, continuous heals, turn meter fill on a 3-turn cooldown. The more continuous heals you have on your team, the more often you're going to get turn meter because they're passive boost turn meter of your entire team whenever a continuous heal activates. And her A1 activates continuous heals, and she places continuous heals on her A2. So, her kit, just give her more continuous heal abilities, let her spam her A1, and then you're going to get tons of turn meter, and then, your team's going to be doing tons and tons of damage. Really nice support champion, 113 base speed, super, super fast. She's still very important for some of those crazy damage teams and like Chimera and Hydra and stuff like that. So depending where you want to use her, she's going to be very, very good. And then lastly, we have from the Secret Orders, we have Lady Noelle. Was a Christmas fusion back in the day, a couple of years ago. Still a really good champion. Big arena aura, speed aura here, 105 base speed. It's got the block buffs on the A1. It's got a 3-turn single target sheep cleanse with a big heal. Surplus heal will heal the rest of your team. And then places increased speed on all your allies. The big thing about this A2 is that when paired with Sir Nick, it activates his unkillable buff. And that's kind of like where the combo is so strong, right? The unkillable is super good. But she also has this A3, which is probably one of the craziest revives in the game. It's a 3-turn revive. Usually these revives are 4 turns. And then she also places a freeze on everybody. It's very, very good, very reasonable ability, and only on a 3-turn cooldown. Sorry, guys, fighting with some background noise here at the place where I'm staying. They obviously have some kind of have a baby or something. Anyways, that's going to be it for this progressive list breakdown. I mean, for myself, I'm not sure if I'm going to be pulling for the Summon Rush, but we'll take a look at how much it costs, and then we'll determine what we want to do. There's 20 fragments in this first Summon Rush. And in this entire fusion, we can only skip 30. So technically, you could skip this Summon Rush entirely, but really depend on what the overall cost is. So we'll have a look at that tomorrow, and then we'll break it down. That's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys have a great day. And some really nice champions here in this Summon Rush. So if you're doing the fusion, pretty good to see some nice progressive champions. Obviously, the rates to pull them are very low, but hey, at least there's a slightly boosted rate to pull them. All right, that's going to be it. I'm going to catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.